Fellas, how is it going? Welcome back to the Barely Noticed podcast. I am your host, Sick Boy, along with my co-host Crawdaddy.
Yep.
And man, oh man, what a week we have had indeed. So much
hmm
has happened. First and foremost, I'm gonna steal the spotlight. Sick Boy has officially reached 100 subscribers. I'm not sure exactly what the official time it took to do that, but I don't want to say that was super long, and that's not me being cocky, but I don't feel like it took me like an entire solid year of regularly uploading, posting content. I feel like I don't know. What do you think, Crawdaddy? That was probably a matter of like I don't know, like 5 months, 4 months maybe.
Consistent uploads like every week, like a few months.
Consistently uploading every Friday, weekly. I really want to say like maybe 4 months.
Yeah, because before it was just
Yeah.
erratic.
Before it was erratic, just whenever I felt like it, and actually sticking with it every single Friday, doing it, 100 subscribers, which I am so thankful for, so happy that it happened. I didn't even see it. I don't know how, but Tyler is always in the loop way more than I am. Maybe he's on YouTube more, or he checks my channel or the Barely Noticed channel more often. But he was the one that texted me that was like, "Holy crap, you reached 100!" And I was like, "Oh!" And then I went and looked on YouTube, and I said, "Well, hot diggity dog." And I just want to say I'm so thankful. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's so funny that it happened and we were just talking about making videos, and sometimes it feels like it's not worth it because it takes such a long time to make videos, and then you get a small view count, or people, it doesn't get recommended or put into the algorithm. And whoop-de freaking do, I say that episode, that last episode and my last post ended up being really successful for my channel size, at least. So I'm a guy at 100 subscribers. Our last podcast is at 201 views right now, which would be episode 13, I
Yeah.
believe. And that episode title is Tua's Brain Died. So I was talking about Tua
Oh yeah, yeah, the
Tagovailoa.
football
I
player.
was talking about the Miami Dolphins quarterback and that he had that thing happen with his brain with the concussion again. Crawdaddy has come to the conclusion that he thinks with the meme and everything going on of the Hawk Tua girl from TikTok, maybe that title got put with that. Maybe it was popular because Tua, like the quarterback for the
Yeah.
Dolphins, and I just had it in the title and it went together. Whatever the case was, that episode did exponentially better than any of our other episodes. Our most viewed episode for the longest time was our fourth one, which is when we had our first guest. That was Wonder Whacked. And that was. Sorry, I'm looking here. I'm trying to look and talk at the same time. 59 views. And our most viewed episode now, last episode 13, Tua's Brain Died, has 201 views. Like,
I
blew
I
it
was
out of the
surprised
water.
too because usually the ones with just us don't do as well because I guess it's just us. But I guess people wanted to see it.
I literally just could not believe it. Like looking back at it, because when I upload stuff, like for the day that I upload it, which is every Friday at 7:45 a.m., I'm very precise about that. Throughout the day, I'll check it like once or twice to see how the views are, and then after that, it's just out of sight, out of mind. So I'm used to the normal amount we get of, between 20 to 60 maybe. And
Yeah.
when I saw 200 views for that episode, I was like floored. I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. But anyway, I'm super happy. It was a crazy weekend. I got 200 views, or we got 200 views on that Barely Noticed episode. I got 100 subscribers. And then my last video that I posted on my channel, which is reacting to channels with the same names, has 197 views. So I would say 200 views as well. And that is doing a lot better than the videos on my channel typically do, which are like low hundreds, high, 70, like kind of in that range. So that did super well for me. And there wasn't any insane clickbait for that. I put the stuff in caps and then not caps, and obviously that makes a difference to people watching. But that was just a video that I think people enjoyed that content more than what I've been doing with the funny moment haha gaming stuff. And you guys have spoken. The algorithm has spoken. It seems like those videos, as much as they are fun to do and I enjoy doing them, Sick Boy and Crawdaddy, I would argue as well, we got to start leaning in the direction more of variety content and
Yeah.
willing to do reaction or just a whole bunch of different things. Because, I guess the argument is true that the funny moment gaming is just so oversaturated that it's really hard to break through on that. So now when I've posted videos that are not funny moment gaming and they lean in the direction of kind of other commentary style sort of things, those videos get a lot more views. And not to be cocky, I have never seen somebody else do that video of reacting to
Yeah.
channels with the same names.
It's unique.
So I'll say that I was a trendsetter for that, and I think that got people interested in looking at that. I've never seen anybody else do that.
They've done like Google searches, but they haven't done like YouTube.
Yeah. So is there somebody in the background?
Yeah, roommates.
Oh, okay. I was like,
I'll
never
turn my
mind.
gain down a little bit.
No, you're fine. I was wondering what I thought that was me. I was like, wait a minute, someone walk in my room. Um, so yeah, super thankful. Thank you guys so much for 100 subscribers. I have said for a while now on the podcast, I believe, and just between Crawdaddy and I and other friends, that I would wait until the end of the year, and if by the end of the year I didn't get 100 subscribers, then I would think that there was no traction and that it wasn't worth continuing doing YouTube. So you guys show that you care and that it's worth watching and worth doing, especially now with my really convoluted, busy schedule with my new full time job and having a fiance and living a life and YouTube. It's hard to fit it in there. But now that you guys have shown it's worth it, I'll still stick with it and try my best to upload regularly and things of all that nature. So once again, thank you so much for 100 subscribers. I know it's the cliche of like, oh, I never thought I would be here or whatever, but I just thinking of the thought that 100 people find me interesting enough to watch a video that I made is,
No,
it's
crazy.
that goes for the videos. Like having 200 views is like 200 people thought it was worth pressing on my video to watch it, and then 100 of you think it's worth it to keep watching me and sticking around for content that comes up in the future. So it's kind of like a heavy thing to think about that I'm very thankful for, and I appreciate you guys so much for that. And then the
It's
barely
like,
noticed. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
like I said, it's like a whole school auditorium. It's
That's a
watching you.
lot of people. Yeah, I mean, I know it's not a million and 100,000 or 10,000, but 100 is like that's still a big enough number to be like, whoa, 100 people, 200 people. The barely noticed is just a fun little thing that we do on the side. And, I think that we are interesting enough for people to listen to us talk, hopefully. In last episode, I don't know if that was an accidental clickbait or whatever the case was, but 200 views, like it feels good to know that people are watching that. And I guess I'd have to look deeper into the analytics and see how long the watch time is and what the retention is or whatever. But it still feels nice to do. And that we're moving up. We're at 15 subscribers, which once again isn't a ton. It's just a podcast. You listen to us talk on your way to work. Maybe you're working, you're at school. I'm not expecting this to be like a main channel, like millions of subscribers, but it's still nice to see traction going forward. And then the last video, I spent a lot of time editing the last video that I did of us reacting to channels with the same names, putting in new sound effects. I tried some new editing things, putting myself up on the screen. I really gambled on that video, I feel like, as compared to what I normally do, and it seems as though it has paid off. So it's great to see the gamble, work or pay off, and that you guys enjoy that. And I know it's the YouTuber cliche of, ooh, great things coming up, great videos coming up.
Oh,
But now that I know that you guys care for more stuff than just funny moment haha gaming, oh my goodness, I've got so many ideas of things that I want to try and do. And Maybe I am just another variety YouTuber like Penguin Zero, Fitz, PewDiePie, whatever the case is. I have more to offer. Crawdaddy has more to offer, and we're excited, and hopefully you guys enjoy it and you want what we are offering. So, uh, this upcoming Friday, which would be the 28th, I believe, or 27th. 27th.
Uh, 27.
September 27th. I'm not going to post an actual upload. I'll probably make my 100 subscriber special, which won't be anything crazy. It's just 100 subscribers. I'll talk to you guys again. Thank you. Put some funny things here and there.
But what about the OF?
In time. In time,
Oh,
son.
I'm just saying, you
In
promised it, and
time,
you okay?
son.
Just saying.
But this Friday, I'll make some kind of shorter video of saying thank you and talk to the camera. And I just haven't had any time lately to record a video, let alone edit one. So just a little short thank you video with me talking to the camera is something that's more doable and feasible. And then the first Friday in October, I actually pitched an idea to Crawdaddy today that I think is a really good idea. Again, I mean, I might say that and then the video sucks and nobody watches it and you guys think it's dumb. But I think it's a pretty good video idea, if I do say so myself, that I think is a really
Mm.
good way to start off the month of October. And we're going to try to stick with like Halloween, spooky, fun theme. And that's what we're going to do.
Should we tell them, or
No,
you
no, no,
gonna
no,
keep it
no.
under wrap?
Well,
Okay.
we'll keep it
Well,
under wraps.
I'll keep this vague, but I made one, and we can add to it if you catch my drift.
Already? Holy
Yeah,
cow.
I got bored last night. They're pretty easy to make.
I was going to sit down after this podcast and make it for that video.
Oh, this. I mean, yeah, you can make one. I need to add more, to be honest,
Yeah,
because
it's
I kind
something,
of just
it'll
went off
take
the top of
time.
my head. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll definitely take time. Um, but this is another video idea that I feel like is such a good video idea that I haven't seen anybody else do. And I'm sure somebody else has done it, but at least it's not popular enough that I've seen it. That even some of our friends who we record with, I have not invited anybody else to do it with us or make it with us because I think it's such a good idea that I don't want it to get stolen. I don't want to put it out on the podcast. I don't want to tell any of our friends. I think it's unique, and I've already got thumbnail ideas and what kind of music I want to put to it, and I'm very excited for it. A stroke of genius, if you will. So we'll have that for the first Friday of October. But anyway, done thanking you guys. Thank you again so much. And now that we have a lot more people watching us, hopefully, we'll see what happens. I guess the format of the show that we've kind of got to a point is throughout the week, Crawdaddy and I have shared podcast notes on iPhone, and whether we're at work or school or in the middle of with my fiance, or maybe he's playing video games, or Tyler's playing video games, or whatever, something will just come to your mind, or you'll see something that happens, and we just pull out our phone real quick and put it in our notes before we forget. And then we meet back up on a typical Monday, is what it would be, to go over our notes that we both put in. Because there's things Tyler's put in here where I'm like, what the heck is that? And then I'm sure there's things I've put in there where he's like, I can't wait to hear this. So that's kind of the format that the show has gotten to, is just two friends recapping their week and talking about things that have gone on and going over notes together, which I feel like is, I'm actually, I kind of like that it's gotten to that. I love that. That's like
Yeah,
a good format.
it's things that might seem to be barely noticed.
Barely noticed things that other people might not care about. I've said before that I want my channel to feel like when people watch my YouTube videos, that it reminds you of like you and your friends being up at like 1 or 2 in the morning, just playing video
Yeah.
games, being silly and having fun. And that's why I leave a lot of my stuff unfiltered, because it would just be like if you were with the boys and it was just a late night and you're playing video games and not paying attention to the world. And that's kind of what I aim for. And I think the podcast for the two of us respectively is kind of in that same regard, where it's like, people are busy with lives, wives, husbands, jobs, school, and you might have that friend you're super close with, you guys get to see each other only that once a week or once every now and then. So it's just the boys finally sitting down to hang out and talk about stuff. And imagine, if you will, you were in a circle with Crawdaddy and I. We're just sitting down, chewing the fat, as us Southerners say, just talking.
Mm.
So I have one. I'm very excited to talk about because it is just so absurd and crazy. And I think it'd be a good way to help start off the podcast. But I've been yapping away. So I'll let you start with what you've got. You can give me something first and then I'll go.
You're talking about the one I wrote that you can
I
see.
mean, I see one that I'm really wondering what the heck is that, but it could be whatever you want it to be.
I'll start off with that. So to put some context to it, we have a friend named Dylan who goes by Turbo. He's probably in a few videos, and I used to be neighbors with him like over a decade ago. I moved away, but anyways, in my old house, he drove home from work. And as he was passing my old house, apparently a car had driven through the front of my old house, and there was ambulances and police everywhere.
And this is so Crawdaddy and Dylan or Turbo depends on what gamertag is using for what account. They used to live in a neighborhood together, and then I lived in the neighborhood across the street by myself. So I had to drive by Tyler's old house and Dylan's current house to get to where my old house was. And the fact that I see in the notes, car drives through front of Tyler's house, it's like the house is set up in a way that you would almost purposefully have to do that.
Yeah,
Like
it's a brick house too.
it's a brick house, probably 60, 70 feet off the main road with a
Yeah,
big front yard. Like you can't just accidentally like, oh whoops, I leaned on the wheel or something got stuck and I drove it. It's like I can't imagine
purposely.
what situation happened that someone literally drove through the front of your old house. Have you seen it? Have you seen a picture or anything?
No, I wish he got pictures. I need to tell him to send me pictures because that's. I literally told him I was like, "What? How does that happen?"
And there's a sidewalk across the street. So if you stopped to like take a picture or walked over, if it was one that didn't have a sidewalk and you had to walk up in your front yard or slow down your car to take a picture, that'd be kind of weird. And it's like, okay, we get it, move along, buddy. But there's a sidewalk, so you can just sit there and look at it like as long as you want to. And it's way across town from me, especially because I moved a town over. So I just haven't had the time to drive out there and really look at it because that is a little bit of a drive for me to go do that. So I haven't seen it. Our friend hasn't sent us a picture of it, but it's it's a crazy thing to hear and it's so hard to fathom because like I said, it's like it's your typical like one story house that's on probably an acre of land and then there's the big grass front yard and backyard and you like I said, you would have had to purposely been like, yeah, I'm driving through this guy's living room today. Did he say where it was going through? Like where specifically?
Like pretty much, it's where the front door is that like no one usually uses. Like on the porch, kind of porchy area. It's kind of elevated, so I'm like, how did they get air enough to even like get through the door?
These DoorDash drivers getting crazy, bro.
The thing is, it's like an old house, so it's one of those houses that were like built to last, so it's sturdy. It's not like the new ones that can crumble. Like they really push the gas to get through that thing.
Yeah, that unless someone is ridiculously drunk, which even then I still don't think so. There's got to be there's something else to that story that we don't know about for someone to have driven through the front door of that. Could you imagine just like sitting down watching
Oh my
Tron or just having like another normal day and then someone when I say off the beaten path, like off the beaten path just drives their Subaru for your front door and lands in the
God.
living room.
The thing that kills me, that kind of stuff does not happen where we
No,
live.
no, it is like we live in a kind of like suburban small town area. It's not like super rural or anything. I mean, it would be like just for most or of any of you guys who live at home. I'm assuming many people live in like the city or suburban areas. Just it is a very hard thing to conceptualize. Is just someone driving through the front door, regardless of where you live.
This is not
Uh,
Florida.
yeah, it's not Florida. It's not some crazy state like California or New York. That is a very, very one-off scenario. And dang it, man! Now after this podcast, I think I'm gonna drive over there. I gotta see this dude. I just can't
Dude,
imagine.
if you're able to get a picture, you gotta at least like pop it up on screen.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay, maybe I'll do it. I don't know. We'll see. I got some more stuff to do this evening, so we'll see what I can get away with. But that is just Ridiculous. Okay, we've beat that horse enough.
Yeah, yeah.
That horse is dead. We have been beating it, and the carcass is just laying in your old
All right.
living room.
You talk about the exploding pagers and walkies because I saw this in the news headline once and I just didn't. I forgot to put it down. So you
So
talk about it.
I am someone that I used to be like super into politics and news because I do think like genuinely getting on my soapbox here as an American or whatever country you live in, like you need to be up to date on what's happening in that country because you're a citizen of that country. And I do honestly think it's your responsibility to like know what's going on and have a voice and understand what's going on. So that was probably around like 2016, 2017. I was really into it. And then I just got burned out and I was like, it's all the same. Nobody cares. Nothing will ever change. And, I kind of vaguely, very rarely kept up with the news, but I'm just like, I'm happy living my life. So I'll do that. Tee hee. And then just keep living. So now with this election coming up, and it's a big election between Kamala and Trump, you just kind of can't help but pay attention to it, I feel like. And there's just so many crazy things going on in the world. I don't watch a specific Fox News or CNN or anything. I get all my news from YouTube. There's like the hot news or trending news section that you can look at thumbnails and get them from like small town news reporters or places that are unbiased. I think, strangely enough, YouTube is more reliable than what you would find on your typical TV or streaming. So I keep up with it, see stuff that happens with the election, and then I see this thing going on, and I believe this is Lebanon
Yeah.
of this is some Call of Duty bonus mission. I have never heard of something like this in my life. So apparently there's a, now I may be wrong. I am not saying anything I say is 100% accurate. I'm just kind of getting from what I understand. I haven't watched any in-depth videos and I don't know factions and different political parties, and so don't, flame me or get super upset about it. So apparently, Lebanon, from what I understand, once again, from what I understand, there's like the Israel and Gaza thing. I guess there's Lebanon and then Hezbollah, and it's like another kind of country versus terroristic group thing, I believe is how that is. It's a similar sort of situation. And they just Modern Warfare MW2 bonus mission, the oh my gosh, I'm trying to think of exactly how it goes, but the police force there still use pagers, which people used from like the 80s and 90s. That like nobody uses a pager anymore, but I guess they use pagers. It's for some kind of security reason that it's more secure than the typical technology because it's harder to like hack into or
Yeah.
interfere with or
Listen
whatever,
in.
something to that extent. There's some very reasonable explanation for it that of course I can't remember, but like I said, dude, Makarov just blew up. Okay, I shouldn't joke because this is really serious, I'm sorry, but I guess Hezbollah or some group, I believe it's them, did a terrorist attack where they did something to the devices and it blew up on 200 hips of police officers, and I want to say it killed like three or four. So all these police officers in a synchronized attack on one day, all their pagers just exploded on their hips, and it killed a few of them, injured a ton of people, and the people in Lebanon are like, "What the heck is going on? This is crazy!" Like it's already crazy enough that something like that could even happen. That's something from a movie, like a Mission Impossible, Call of Duty,
Yeah.
James Bond. Like that is craziness. And then the next day, the same thing happened to an even higher extent with walkie-talkies, and like way more of those blew up, and then a lot more police officers died because those are bigger. More police
Yeah.
officers are obviously going to have walkie-talkies, and that killed many more people, which is really sad, and it's just a terrible thing to hear. And I haven't delved into it much more than that, but I just know that is, like I said, something movie-esque, something video game-esque, is just a terrorist group or some kind of organization being able to rig walkie-talkies and pagers to explode on the hips of police officers to kill them. That is,
It's
I
a whole
saw,
movie.
yeah, literally, dude, that will be a movie in the coming years or some kind of video game or something. It's just so out there. I saw some kind of thumbnail for a news clip on it, and it said the new generation of warfare with like the electronic and cyber warfare and things, and that is That's scary. If you can do that, trust me, you can do a lot worse than that. That's pretty bad. But
Yeah.
man, that I don't even I don't much know much more than that now that I've talked about it, and it's something that I'll have to go back on and do more research on. Maybe we talk about next time, or maybe there's more developments in it. But it's yeah, something crazy. So, anyways, did you? I have a. I'm sorry, I can't help it. I have one that I really, really want to share.
What?
Cause okay, so I my new job that I have gotten, I have to wake up really early for it. And then I get off pretty early, at least as of right now. It's like 3 or 4. So I'll wake up at like 5 and then I travel a lot. So I drive all throughout the Carolinas for it, North and South Carolina. And I've always had a really difficult time with sleeping. So trying to go to bed earlier, waking up earlier has been like a difficult thing. I'm trying to get down, and it's just a whole new routine change. And I was like feeling not throw up fever sick, but like snot in my throat, getting chills kind of sick last Thursday, Friday, Saturday, maybe this past Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I was taking a lot of Dayquil and NyQuil, and I would take like the capsules, like the pill capsules of it. And
Yeah.
I guess because I don't smoke, vape, drink, I've never done any of that. My body is really has a low tolerance for foreign substances because it's just not used to having anything affect it. Like I don't drink caffeine. I try to not eat any sugar, like artificial sugars. I'm very organic, healthy eating person. And when I take Dayquil and NyQuil, bro, I've never taken drugs, but I'm assuming that's what it's like because my body will get like warm and fuzzy, and I'm like kind of loopy, and it just it affects me. I don't know what else to say. It heals me and it helps, but it really affects me like kind of negatively. So I'm sure for a lot of people, when you take melatonin, you get like really weird dreams at night, or you have strange sleep cycles or whatever. For a lot of people, they get nightmares from it. I've heard people say that, or you just get weird dreams. It affects your brain chemicals because you're forcing yourself to sleep more. So obviously, it's going to affect you. So I had some really, really weird dreams the past few nights. I had one last night. Man, I was going to put it in my podcast notes, and I was just busy getting ready for work this morning, and I totally forgot to do it. It was so weird, and I wish I could remember it. Hopefully it'll come back to me, but I just cannot remember it. And then the one that I do remember, I would love to start keeping a dream journal because I think it would be such a cool thing to look back on like in future years and be like, "What in the world?" So the one I have the other night, I don't, oh my gosh, I don't remember much to it, but this is what I remember. So the day before, I had been watching a commercial. There's some new commercial where Will Ferrell is doing like a credit card ad or something. And I remember talking to somebody the other day that I said, hot take, I don't think Will Ferrell is that funny. I think he has funny movies. I think he's a funny person, but I think that he is overrated, and like he kind of has this weird showmanship where he over embellishes. I don't know. I just don't think he's that funny. Like he's got good stuff like Elf, Semi Pro, or whatever, but I don't think he's the funniest guy in the world. Like there's some stuff that you watch and you're like, okay, this sucks. So I had that on my mind, and then I saw the credit card commercial. So then when I went to bed that night, I had a dream that I was at my old house growing up in the town where Tyler and I grew up, and I was in the front yard, and for some reason Will Ferrell had his penis out of his pants, and
What
he
the
like
heck?
had it laying flat in his hands, and he was just showing us like how big it was. And it was me and Will in my old front yard, and there were other people there, and I don't remember who it was. And he's just like laying it flat in his hands, and he's like, "Man, just look at this thing. Like, would you look at it?" like showboating it. And then out of dude, this is when it gets like messed up. Man, I hope my landlord doesn't hear me. I live with my landlord, so I'm trying to be careful of. So anyway, so then like the snake comes up in the grass, and then the snake sees Will Ferrell's penis, and it thinks that it's a
Oh
snake,
no.
So then it
Uh,
starts like lifting up its head and like going towards his penis, and Will is like, "What do I do? What do I do?" And I'm like, "Will, don't move it, dude. Like, just don't do anything. Just leave it alone." And then the snake starts like doing like a mating ritual, like moving its head back and
oh
forth, and he's
no.
like, "Oh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh." And then the snake starts like rubbing itself up against his penis. And then, as you know, like if someone were to masturbate or when you have sex, like when you move against that or rub it, that's what feels good, and then so on and so forth.
Oh
So then the
no.
snake like wraps itself around his penis and then starts like moving back and forth, and Will's like, oh, I'm scared but I like it.
No.
I'm scared but I like it. And then he's like, I just have to do it now, don't I just have to do it. And I was like, what? And then because the snake keeps rubbing back and forth. Will Ferrell comes on the snake, like he just comes all over the snake, and then
Oh
he
my
was
god.
like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't want to, but I had to." He's like, "I didn't
Oh,
want to, but I had to," and I was like, Will, oh my gosh!" And then I woke up.
I already have the title for this episode.
So
Will Ferrell has a hog.
yeah, that was the dream I had the other night. And I feel like I'm someone, there's people talk about lucid dreaming or remembering having dreams, and I feel like for the most part I can remember my dreams. And as of lately, because I was taking a medicine to help with being sick or whatever, I was having just crazy wacko dreams and I could not remember them, but that was one of the ones where I was like, "Oh, I am not forgetting this one."
Yeah.
And
Now,
go ahead.
now that I think about it, I constantly have weird dreams, and I do not take melatonin. Like, just one I can think of is like me, Mario, and the Pope sitting in a circle smoking cigars. Like, it's always the most odd
uh
things that make no sense. But
Dream
yeah,
blunt
continue.
rotation.
Yeah.
Mario, the Pope, and Tyler. uh yeah, I feel like normally I can remember having goofy dreams or stuff, but that one I just needed to tell somebody because I don't have anybody to tell that. So then I told my fiance, and like her and I are very like, we don't make sexual jokes. That's just not our thing. I don't like sexual jokes. I think it's like low hanging fruit, and it's just like, come on, like grow up. But I had to tell her about this, and I told her it, and she did not have like she was like, "Ew, that was yucky. I wish you hadn't told me that." And I was like, "Oh, ha ha ha." And I was like, nah, somebody else is gonna appreciate this. I gotta tell somebody. So
That's a man joke.
yeah, unfortunately. So all of the bros, that one was for you. Will Ferrell,
Oh,
Will Ferrell,
Ferrell.
come on the podcast and defend yourself.
Yeah, the
You're
controversy
you are
canceled.
formally invited to the podcast after we are gonna blaspheme you with snake charming, snake charming a snake using your penis.
Sick boy and Will Ferrell got beef.
We got beef. Come on the podcast and defend yourself. You're formally invited. I'll tweet you. Don't worry. What is this other thing that you've got on here? It says Moo Dang
You
question
don't know Moo
mark.
Ding?
I
You don't
have
know Moo
no
Ding?
idea what you're talking about.
Okay, Moo Ding is like this pygmy little hippo that has been like taking over parts of the internet. It's like the new meme. You don't know Moo Ding?
No. Are you
Yeah.
serious or is this a joke?
Yes. Look up Moo Ding.
Okay, let me look this up. I see Moo Ding question mark and I just have no idea. Pygmy hippo. Okay, so it's a real
It's a
hippo.
cute little hippo.
Okay.
I just thought that was fun.
Okay.
Moo Ding. We
And
love
it's
Moo
just
Ding.
people love Moo Ding.
Moo Ding and Will Ferrell combined episode?
Moo Ding and Will Ferrell. Moo Ding, come on the podcast to defend yourself. Will
No, Moo Ding's
Ferrell,
cool. Moo Ding doesn't need to defend himself.
actually, Moo Ding, come onto the podcast to criticize and go after Will Ferrell. Will Ferrell, defend yourself against Moo Ding.
I want to see a debate between Moo Ding and Will Ferrell
Can we
on
get
political issues.
yes? Can we get a Will Ferrell Moo Ding debate, please? Thank you very much. Okay, so it's just a
Never mind.
popular
That's the
zoo
title.
animal. It's just a popular zoo animal, essentially.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Just thought that was fun.
I sure. Why not?
Are you entertained? Are you not entertained?
Not really. No.
Did you not like looking at Moo Ding?
It's no Harambe. It's no
I mean, yeah,
Harambe.
that's hard to
It'll
beat.
never be
That's
Harambe.
nothing
Will
ever
there
can beat.
ever be another internet animal that will bring everyone together as much as Harambe does? I don't think so.
I don't think so. That crossed political borders.
That had the opportunity to heal nations.
That literally brought the United States together like 9/11 did.
Yeah, everybody was on the same team after Harambe died. You know, this is quick sidebar. I remember Harambe being such a popular meme that when right? It's a he.
Yeah, as a dude.
When Harambe died was around the time Black Ops 3 was out. I remember me, Tyler, Grand FC, Turbo, and Turbo's brother, whose name is Jacob. I don't know what his gamer tag is anymore. He's changed it so many times. But we were in a Call of Duty lobby, and like the clan tags. We had our names in a list when we were in a lobby, and we spelled out through all of our gamer tags like we love Harambe or like rest in peace Harambe or something through all of our gamer tags, and we'd try to load into lobbies and hopefully it would like line up correctly and it would read through all the way. That's how much of a viral sensation Harambe was and his sacrificial death.
He was a great gorilla. You know, besides the whole dragging a child around.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, besides kidnapping a small child. If we ever find that small child, I won't say it on this podcast, but you know what to do.
get him on the pod.
Get
Defend
him on the
himself. He has
pod.
to defend
A
himself.
Harambe child who destroyed the internet and got Harambe killed. Come on the podcast. Defend yourself. Something I wanted to. So Monday, we typically record on a Monday. I put these up on a Friday. Mondays are our record days, whether it's gaming, reaction, streaming, podcast or whatever. That's typically the time that we all set aside to do that. And then Friday is when I'll post podcast, video, whatever else. Wow, man. I had the most Monday of Mondays. It was a terrible. So I started my new job, which I travel a lot for right now. I'm going to throw a lot of city names out because I don't live in South Carolina and I don't live close to where these places are, so I don't mind saying them, but I don't want to dox myself. So I've been for this job that I'm doing, my training and first weeks are taking place in Gaffney, South Carolina, for those of you who know where that is, just over the border from North Carolina, and it's in the towns surrounding Gaffney. So it's in these kind of middle of nowhere, really deep
Yeah.
rural southern towns. I've lived in North Carolina almost half of my entire life. So for 11 years now, I would say 10, 11 years now. And
Something like that.
I get people have southern accents. I can normally discern them and understand them. The people in these places talk, and I'm like just completely lost. I have no idea what these people are saying, and
Now you understand it.
I mean, yes, I am understanding it more, but it's still, the first few days, someone would talk, and the guy I'm training with, someone would say something. I just turned to him and I started saying, "Do you speak Gaffnese?" I was like, "Do you speak Gaffnese?" And he was like, "Yeah, I knew exactly what that guy said." And I was like, "No, you didn't. Like, you're literally lying. There's no way you understood a word that guy said." So I've been in Gaffney a lot, but more of the surrounding deep towns, which would be like Blacksburg, Jonesville, Limestone College, that kind of area, Pacolet, which I know I'm not saying it right. It's spelled like Pacolet. You're supposed to say like Picolet or something like that. It's one of those small towns where it's like, oh, you don't say it that way. You gotta say, oh, yeah, shut up, shut up. No one lives in your small town, and you're all
Wrong.
sad.
Wrong.
Anyways, so but I had the most Monday of all Mondays. I have to drive a lot for my job. I travel a lot throughout the day. Or on given days I have to travel a lot. So I drive all the way out to Union City, which is also around the Gaffney Blacksburg area. So I'm out in Union, little middle of nowhere town. I drive around a lot. I normally am putting 150 miles on my odometer daily. As of right now, I am with how much drive. It'll lessen, but for my training and things, it's a lot. So I've needed to get an oil change for probably 2 or 3 weeks, and I keep putting it off because I don't want to spend the money on it because it's really expensive. And a friend of mine from church who lives across the street from me was going to do the oil change for me. So I was like, bet, I'll just buy the oil, get the oil filter. He'll do it. I'll save a ton of money. That's a victory royale for the boys. So then I finally get in contact with him. I'm going to go that Monday after work. This previous Monday after work, I'm going to go over to his house and get it done. So my car, every time I get it in, it's like, oh, maintenance needed, blah blah blah, and I'm like, yeah, shut up. So then I need to get that done, and then I work. I wake up at 5. I get done at like 2, so I get done pretty early. And I was like, great, an early day off. I can't wait to go home. I'll work on some editing. I'll do some podcast stuff with Tyler. This is perfect. So it takes me like an hour and 15 minutes to get home. I'm driving home. I'm on the middle of the highway and I get a flat tire. So then I pull over. I have a flat tire. I don't have a jack in my car. I don't know why. I still don't. I definitely need to have one. And I'm on the side of the highway. So then I call my car insurance people, and that takes like 20 minutes to get through to them. And then I get somebody sent out to come change to put my spare tire on. And it says wait time is 55 minutes to 85 minutes. And I'm like, oh, brother. So then I'm sitting on the side of the highway. For those of you who have been on the side of the highway, and you're sitting still in a car or standing outside, you don't realize how fast the highway is until you're standing next to it. Or maybe those of you who have been
Yeah.
to NASCAR or something. And I drive a Prius. I drive a really small Prius. So when I'm sitting still on the side of the highway and those cars drive by me, like my whole car is shaking. Sounds like I'm at Daytona. You do not realize like those are 2-ton pieces of metal traveling at 75 to 80 miles per hour. If that hits you as a standalone person, you just turn into a red mist. And then if it hits you in your car, you're just a crumpled up like Sprite can. Like you're not winning that battle. So that was, I kind of opened my eyes to that. I was standing on the side of the road, like over in the grass, not right next to the highway, but I was like, I could get absolutely obliterated at any moment. So after probably 55 minutes, 60 minutes, an hour, this guy shows up. I'm in Blacksburg, South Carolina when this happens, which is another middle of nowhere town, super southern, super rural. And this guy shows up and he's like, well, hey there, Bubba, you want me to change your tire for you? And he's like super southern, very nice guy, super nice guy. Changes my tire. I have pickleball paddles in the back of my car and I had to take them out to get the spare tire out. And he was like, oh, you play pickleball? And I was like, yeah, here and there when I'm able to with my fiance, or I go out and play with friends. He's like, yeah, my nephew's actually a professional player. Like he's on the internet and he does all these sponsors and ads and he plays professionally. And I was like, really? What's his name? I do not remember his name, but I think it's something along the lines of like Jared Darren or
Huh.
something Darren. It's either Jared something or something Darren. I haven't tried to look him up yet. My internet armchair sleuths go free, go wild, and find him. But apparently the guy was related to him, and I was like, okay, that's kind of cool because I like pickleball or whatever. So then I get in my car. So he changes it, gets it fixed. So then I need to go somewhere to get a new tire put on. So then I'm looking in the surrounding area. I go to this Circle K, I believe it is. The car insurance guy tells me to go to the Circle K. I drive probably 10 minutes to the Circle K. I get there. I'm like, hey, I see you have a thing to change tires. Can I get my tire changed? They're like, oh, we only do diesel. We only do it for semi trucks. So you have
What?
to go to this other place. And I'm like, brother, who, all right. So then I have to drive another 15, 20 minutes deep into Blacksburg to this other place. And I get to this little mom and pop tire shop that is run by guys who are probably in their 70s with big old beer bellies who are in absolutely no hurry at all. They have all the
Mm,
time in the world on their
uh,
hands. So I get up there, I've got a small Prius, I have a super easy tire change. Like if I have the tools to do it, I could get it done in not even 5 minutes. So I pull up and the guy's like, "Hey, what you need for, bro?" And I'm like, "Hey, can you I just need to change this tire." He's like, "Yep, we can do that for you." So then I pull up and there's nobody there. 3 people pull up after me and they all start getting serviced before I do. And I'm like, brother, there's no way. It was 2 ladies. I don't know if maybe the guys thought they were attractive, so they went to go help them. And then another guy who I would assume was a drug dealer. When they asked him to pay for it, he pulled out what looked like $1,000 in singles out of his pocket. It was
damn.
like, here, I could pay for it. And I was like, okay, so he sells crack. But anyway, I'm waiting forever, and now I'm getting frustrated. It's hot and sticky. I was supposed to be home super early, and now I'm not. This is taking up so much time. I'm stuck in this little crap junky town. So then this younger dude who's probably around our age, maybe like 25, 26, comes up and he's like, hey, what you waiting on? I was like, hey, I'm just trying to get my tire changed. I really want to go home. It's been a long day. And he was the one who actually like sped things up to get it done. So He goes to get
Props to that
my
guy.
props to him. I don't remember his name. I don't want to dox him anyway, but he was the shinier piece of the poop. He was one of the nicer guys there. So he starts to go work on my tire to go get it, and this old guy pulls up who has to be like 100 years old minimum. He's so freaking old, and his back is like bent like a cashew, like he's looking at the ground. He can't even look up, and he had
Okay.
to park on the edge of the parking lot and walk like probably 20 yards to the front door, and he's walking at like the grandpa shuffle, like one
Yeah.
mile per hour. So I go to hold the door open for him to be nice, and he gets all the way up to the door, looks up at me, and he's like, well, I done forgot my phone. And then he turns
Oh,
around to start going back to his car. And I was like, no, 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 I'll help you out. Like, I'll go get your phone. So I'm like, so where's your phone at? And he's like, it's in the driver's seat. It's on the right side of the driver's seat. So I walk all the way over to the car and I start going to the driver's seat, and he goes, no, not there. I said in the passenger seat. It's in the
oh my
passenger. And I
God.
was like, it's definitely not what you said, but okay. So I go get his phone for him. I walk it all the way back up to him. Not even a thank you, not even a smile or anything. And then I hold the door open for him to walk into the tire changing place. No thank you again. Doesn't even care. Goes in and starts talking to the guy in there about Zins or dip or something. I don't know. Just as if I didn't even, I was just his slave that got that work done for him. He did not care at all. So this younger guy working on my tire, he can see that I'm like getting pissed off and aggravated, and like I'm starting to get into like baby tantrum mode. Like I'm just tired, I'm hungry, I've been working all day, it's hot, I'm spending a lot of money to get my car fixed. So he's like, "So where are you going?" And I told him where I'm heading back to, and he's like, "Well, do you have any work left today?" And I was like, "No, I would just really like to get home. It's been a really long day." And he was like, "Okay, okay." So I was kind of, I wasn't being pissy with him, but you could, if you were him, you could tell that I was upset and just in a bad mood. So then he finally gets it fixed. What took 30 seconds to do ended up, I was there for such a long time. And he was like way off somewhere else. And I was like, "Thank you." And I put up my hand, and he was like, "Yeah, sure thing, brother," or whatever. And the guy goes to check me out at the register, and he's like, "I'm sorry we took so long. We just got so darned busy." And I was like, I was the only person here. Like, you weren't busy. It would have, you could have given me the tools, the guy who doesn't know cars, and I would have gotten it done before you. So I check out or whatever, and I almost pulled out my phone to use like iPhone voice memo to record the people talking. There was a guy behind the register, a dude waiting in line, and then another dude sitting in a chair. And it was like when people make fun of Southerners and do the accent, like, "Well, hey there, Billy, how you doing?" Like,
Ah, man.
incredibly Southern. It was an experience. So,
They're living up to the stereotype.
oh, absolutely. So I get that done. I get home. I don't even get to stop home. I go straight to my friend's house for him to change my oil. I end up being at his place for an hour, and he couldn't get the oil filter on because it was on too tight from whoever did it last time. So I wasted time for an hour there. He's a super nice guy, and I appreciate him trying to do it, but it, just didn't work out. It's getting pretty late by that point. So then I had to go to a Take 5 to get my oil change. I got there, I had to wait in line forever, and they only had one lane open, and I was the next car in line. They open up the other lane and then let another car go in there, and I'm like, does anybody have
Oh,
common sense today? Like, is everybody stupid today? So I'm just tired with that. I got in, I got my oil changed, which took I had to wait a long time. Then it did not take 5. It did not
I
take
was gonna
10.
ask, did it
It
take
did not
5?
take 5. It did not take 10 minutes. It took like 30 for something so simple. And I already had the oil filter and the oil in the back of my car. So all I had to do was get it done. And this lady was like, "Hey, do you want us to fill up the air in your tire?" She's like, "Go ahead and fill up the air
Oh,
in his
yeah.
tires and clean his window." And I'm like, "I really don't want any of that. I just want you to change my oil so I can go home. Like, it's been a long day. I just want to go home." And then she started getting an attitude with me, and she's like, "Okay, well, it's all free, but if you want to be like that." And I was like, "No way."
Oh, my lord. That's her
Shayla,
name?
yes.
Oh, you straight up called her
Shayla,
out.
do not get with me like this. So
Come on, Shayla, don't be like
they
that.
ended up getting it done. I was like, "Hey, I'm sorry if I was rude or something. I'm just really tired. It's been a long day. I really want to go home." And she was like, "I understand. I hope you feel better. Whatever." I mean, I wasn't mean to her, but my body language, and I just seemed like a mopey, whiny teenage boy. So I got that done. and then I just didn't want to cook anything because it's been a long day and I'm exhausted and I don't want to make dinner. So my fiance like ordered a pizza for me to go pick up from Papa John's to have for dinner. So I started driving in the opposite direction from the Papa John's, and she told me where she got it from. I had to turn around, go get that, and then drive the opposite direction, and then drive back to my crib where I stay, my house. And so I got off of work at 2. I would have gotten home, we'll just ballpark and say 3:30. With everything that happened, I got off of work at 2 and didn't get home until 8.
Oh,
And
that's rough.
that's, yeah, so I had already been awake since 5, worked from 5 a.m. to 2, and then was busy dealing with crap, spending a ton of money to fix my car, and didn't get home till 8. So I got home because I don't drink or smoke or anything. My, like, when I'm angry or pissed off, I take it out on food. Like, I will just annihilate eating food. I eat my feelings out. I got home. I have my new flavor of Gamer Sups, which is the anime girl thigh high, which is supposed to
Shout
be
out.
like shout out Gamer Sups, please sponsor us, please. Uh, it's supposed to be like a creamsicle flavor, and I hadn't tasted it yet, so I got my Gamer Sups shaker that I also have, filled it up, put the creamsicle drink in there, and then I had a large pepperoni pizza. Finally got upstairs, took my clothes off, changed, sat down at my desk, turned on some YouTube, and I ate a large Papa John's pepperoni pizza. I kid you not, without pausing in less than 10 minutes. I destroyed it. I was so hungry. I was so tired. I was in a bad mood. I told my fiance, like, normally I always call her before work, during lunchtime, after work, and I love you and keeping up with her or whatever. And after work, I was like, I love you, and I just cannot talk to you right now because if I do, I think I'm gonna unintentionally be mean or rude to you. And it's not because I'm trying to. I'm just so tired that I don't want to treat you bad or do that. So I just had to get home and cool off, dude. I was exhausted, tired, bad mood, had to spend a lot more money than I had planned on. And it was a very long day on Monday. We were supposed to have the podcast, and then we were supposed to have like a little Discord meeting with some of our friends about working on some videos coming up, and I just couldn't do it. I mentally, people make the joke of like, oh, I mentally can't handle that, or I mentally could not fathom handling that situation. It was terrible. So
I feel for you, man. That sucks.
whatever Monday you had, maybe yours was worse than mine. Hopefully that makes you feel better. If you had something else bad happen in your life, it was a bad day. Or I could sympathize with you. Mondays suck. It was the most Monday ever.
That Monday review for you reminds me of like freshman year of high school when I played football. Get there
Oh
at
yeah.
like 7 a.m.
I
Don't
remember that.
leave. Don't get home till 8. You just
Yeah.
want to
You lived at
die.
school. You lived
Yeah,
at
it's
school.
terrible.
Oh
Yeah.
boy. Um we're closing up on an hour here, and I want to get through our notes. We've had some notes that we've had on here that have been here for the past few weeks that we just haven't been able to talk about because we run out of time. So I'm going to speed through some of mine real quick because I know
Yeah.
Crawdaddy's got some on here he wants to talk about. I tried the Oreo Coke that is out. It's okay. It's all right. If you've had it, I think you would agree. It doesn't knock your
Just
socks out. Have you had it?
no, does it taste like Oreo?
It's you can only get it as Coke Zero, and I don't like the taste.
Oh,
I don't drink soda, and I don't like Coke in general. And Coke Zero, I just especially don't
Coke
care
Zero is
for.
ass.
It sucks. Coke Zero is not good, but the Oreo is very subtle. Like you very faintly taste it. So I just don't think it's worth. It tastes like any other Coke Zero to me, with just a barely like cricket fart of
Mm.
Oreo flavoring. If it was a regular Coke that had a stronger Oreo flavoring, maybe it would win me over. But it's okay. Now
So
there's
it's like
the
someone who ate like a whole pack of Oreos and then just breathed on it.
yes, exactly. Now the Oreo that tastes like Coke, the actual cookie, that's really good.
Oh,
I am an Oreo whore. If you give me a the square like container or box of Oreos, I'll eat all of them in a sitting. I cannot contain myself with Oreos, and I know I can't buy the Oreos that taste like Coke because I would crush them. Those are a lot better.
some
Uh,
might say you're a double stuffed slut.
Possibly, I'm a birthday cake slut. The birthday cake
Uh,
Oreo, oh my goodness, so good. The Panthers finally won a game.
About time.
I think people would agree that they're one of, if not the worst teams in the NFL. And obviously, being from Carolina, you want them to win. You want to root for them. They've had a tough season, tough last season, tough start to the season. The coach Dave Canales, after their home game win, which or a home game loss, I'm sorry, their home game opener is what I meant to say, and which they lost. I was there for that game. It got to a point that when the Panthers would go on the field, the home fans would boo them, which
Oh man.
obviously you would not want that. Bryce Young has had a heck of a time trying to start there. Uh, the post game press conference, Dave Canales, every question he answered was Bryce Young is our quarterback. Bryce Young is our quarterback. And then I don't know yet because I haven't watched the game footage. Well, I guess Dave Canales watched the game footage and realized maybe Bryce Young shouldn't be our quarterback. So after saying all that, like a day after or 2 days after, they put in Andy Dalton, who has been like their sub quarterback for a million years. He's like pretty old for NFL age,
Yeah.
and everybody thinks he's like washed up and sucks. And they played the Raiders this past blah 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 Sunday. So was that 3 days ago? And he probably played the best game he's ever played in his entire career. The Panthers had a huge win that they really really needed. I never ever sit down to watch American football because it's just not really my thing. I'll keep up with the team, but to watch a whole football game is quite the commitment. I like, European football, soccer better. And it was a great game. Really good touchdowns. Andy played super well. A much, much needed win. That was good. We needed that. Hopefully they can keep it up this upcoming Sunday.
R.I.P. Bryce Young.
R.I.P. Bryce Young, man. I think it's official. He's a bust. Just
Dang.
has not worked out for him. Uh, it's not all his fault, obviously, because there's other players, there's the coaches, there's so many more moving pieces. But when you play the entirety of last season and you guys win 2 games the entire season, then this season you play 2 games, you lose both of them. They change the quarter. The only thing they change is the quarterback, and then they have a resounding win, probably one of the best games in Panthers history, and easily Andy Dalton's best game ever. Doesn't
Not looking so hot.
doesn't look very good for him, which I hate because he's super nice. He's a great guy, strong Christian, and he was a good player at Alabama, really good player at Alabama, and just has not worked out for him. But he's still getting that bag, so I feel bad for him. But go dry your tears with your millions of dollars. You'll be all right. So for you, Tyler, I've been yapping. I see here for you. I have heard very, very briefly about this, like in passing. I don't know anything about it. The Mr. Beast, Logan Paul, Lunchables thing. What? Tell me about this.
So basically, I mean, I don't know that much. I just know like the basics. But Mr. Beast, Logan Paul, and KSI came out with like their own version of Lunchables because I'm sure they grew up on them too. And Mr. Beast has Feastables, and Logan Paul and KSI have Prime, so they made that with combined. Which I mean,
It's
it's
a
a
good
smart
idea.
idea,
Yeah, it's a good idea.
but people are not so keen on it because apparently it's unhealthy. And then they're like fighting back saying Lunchables aren't exactly healthy either. But then other people are fighting back saying they're marketing it to kids. And I'm like, personally, like, bro, nothing's healthy anymore. Like, I don't know what they're trying to get at. I mean, this is just like a easy business move. It makes sense. And people are just losing their mind over it. I'm not exactly like a Logan Paul fan or a Mr. Beast fan, but I mean, that they're just selling food. That's it.
So I think the only reason it's like a big stink is because the whole thing going on with Jimmy already,
Oh yeah.
with all the drama. So now, like, the media and anybody is just looking for anything to nail him on or get him in more trouble with. So, I mean, people sell unhealthy stuff all the time. Coke is Coke. Frito Lay's is Frito
Yeah.
Lay's. Like Oreo. We get it. Like they're selling stuff that's unhealthy, but people are still eating it. I think he's just. Are they marketing it as healthier, but it's not actually? That's probably the bigger question.
Maybe it's they always say Prime's healthier or whatever, electrolyte things, but I mean, I don't know enough about sports
Yeah.
science with electrolytes, so I don't want to speak on it. Like I've seen some people where it's like it's not the right electrolytes, and then I see other ones where it's like it can be the right electrolytes. So it's like I don't know.
Yeah, if they're trying to market it as a healthier lunchable alternative and then it's not, I get that. But also with Mr. Beast being in hot water with the allegations and everything that are still going on. Like I said, I think it's just another reason for people to jump on the Mr. Beast hate train and keep going after him.
It's also a thing. People like Coke markets Coke Zero and Diet Coke as somewhat healthy. They are not. They're arguably worse with all the artificial
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. And it could just be right. Mr. Beast is in the big trouble with what's going on. The Paul brothers have
Always
always
in
been
some.
controversial.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's never not a reason why they're not being talked about for some reason. And people
I
like to
mean,
hate on KSI. So
if it's cheaper than the regular Lunchables, because regular Lunchables kind of expensive. I mean, I might try it.
bring back kids cuisine, man. Just
Oh,
go back to
dude,
kids
those
cuisine,
hit.
man.
Oh, those
Better than
sugar little pudding.
Lunchables, better than these prime Beast Bar box things, whatever
And
those are.
or my microwave mac and cheese.
Your microwave mac and cheese, your pudding that has the little stars in it.
Yeah, my
I
soggy
just
chicken
your
tendies.
soggy nuggets. Go back to the basics. Go back to the
Mm,
roots.
that's
Reject
what
modern life.
that's what America grew up on.
Listen, grow up in a low income housing area where you have your kids' cuisine delicacy for dinner and just live the American dream. That's what it's about. And if you're not doing that, leave our country. I'm sorry.
I mean, they actually are good. You just got to put some salt on them.
The kids' cuisine?
Yeah,
Yeah, they're actually, that's what I'm saying. Like, they're actually not
yeah.
that bad.
Just gotta salt them. They're actually pretty good.
I remember seeing a YouTube video growing up where a kid ate an expired kid's cuisine and then he
Oh,
said that he got like magnetic powers from it and his mom would put like quarters and spoons up against his forehead and it would stick to his forehead.
I believe it.
I,
I completely
I have
believe
to
it.
look that up. That might have to be a reaction video is us watching like weird internet stories like that. But I remember that
Yeah.
being a thing. I want to say H3H3 covered that and made a video about it.
Ooh. After this video, just came up with an idea. It's Halloween season. I'll let you know.
Okay,
But
perfect.
anyways, going to the astronaut that's stuck in space because this has been here for like 3 weeks.
That has been there for 3 weeks. This is another thing. Whereas we are speed running through it now. We just got over an hour. We're at an hour and 2 minutes now. So we'll try to speed run this. Um, I saw a thing that there are astronauts on the International Space Station,
I think it's a couple.
and yeah, okay. So and something happened that went wrong, and they were supposed to be there for a certain amount of time, and now they're supposed to be up there for like a year or
Yeah,
something. They're
Boeing
gonna be yeah. Go ahead.
Boeing messed up with their rocket or something, and they already have. I think I forgot how long ago, but they had their little situation with like a Boeing. What's the word? Whistleblower died, and it's all suspicious. So that it's something about people trying to keep it on the
Something's
low.
going
But
on. Something's
yeah,
happening.
their
But
stocks ain't gonna be looking good.
I saw that in a YouTube news thumbnail of astronauts stuck in space, and which they are. They won't be able to come down until next year or something really later, like a ridiculous delay of them having to be there. And with the election and the wars going on and things, I feel like it's not getting the coverage it's supposed to.
Yeah,
And I'm like, how is that not being covered more? It's kind of
I
it's
mean,
sad.
on the bright side, scientifically, we'll be able to see some real long-term effects in space for future travel.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some sort of plus to it. But that sucks for them and getting to see their families, and
Yeah,
I'm sure that's scary being like, oh yeah, we can't bring you back. You're stuck in space. Like,
and they don't want to be there
yeah,
that long.
that's a scary call to make. So prayers to them. Hopefully things
Yeah,
go well. That's a scary situation to be in, but it seems like it's under control. If it was a bigger deal, maybe it would be bigger news. So maybe that's why it's not so big.
yeah. Let me bring up this topic real quick. Why it's still somewhat hot, the whole Trump would-be assassin thing.
Uh huh.
Would you see he left a note?
I saw that he left a note, but I haven't read it or gone into it extensively.
Everything I've looked at, they won't go into too deep. I guess because incite other people. But there did leave a thing where the dude who left a note put he will pay someone 150,000 to
Oh yeah, he
finish the
left a
job.
bounty. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
So for disclaimer, this dude's crazy. Don't listen to him. This is
Yeah.
very stupid.
Do not kill former President Donald Trump for a $150,000 reward, which you can't even get anyway because the guy's in prison.
Yeah.
So
What was he gonna do?
yeah, it's not like he can
Besides,
transfer it or something.
it's funny because it's like almost he knew he was gonna fail, so he had that note ready because it was on his car as he was dipping
It was
or
something
on
to
a
the
car.
effect of like, "I'm sorry I failed you guys," or "I wasn't able to get the job done," and then he was
Yeah.
offering money for someone else to try to kill Trump, which do not do that. This guy is crazy. We are not advocating for that to happen by any means. Just talking about what happened.
Crazy
So
people be doing
that dude
crazy
looks
things.
crazy too. When you see
Yeah,
him,
yeah.
and
Like little old man,
yeah,
just wide-eyed.
he looks like a goofy fella. Hopefully he doesn't come back out. I can't imagine a circumstance where you try to
No.
assassinate the leader of the free world and you don't get life in prison.
Well, I mean, the Reagan guy got out eventually.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, but I mean, he was in there for like 30 years, so
Yeah, I would think
he
that's
actually hit his
gotta.
shot.
Yeah, I would think. I would just imagine that's a lifetime sentence for trying to even kill the president of the United States, the leader
I
of
think
the free world.
I think they just do it as attempted. I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. It looks
So
like
he'll be in there for a minute.
they're trying to stack a bunch of charges on him. He's got a bunch that are every time I
Yeah.
see a news on it, it's piling up even more so.
All right, talk about these chiropractor videos
Let's get
because
to the
it's been on there
chiropractor
for a minute.
videos. These have been on
Yeah,
here
yeah.
for a while. As I've told you before, my YouTube shorts are. It used to be like all gaming stuff and my recommended stuff, and now I get like puppy and kitten videos and
Yeah.
how to clean like your gutters efficiently or something. It just changes as you get older. I have fallen into this new niche of watching chiropractor videos and like chiropractors recording having patients and just doing like insane like snapping someone's neck where you're like, how is that person not
Oh,
dead? And then they'll stand up and be like, wow, that's the best thing I've ever felt in my life. And it's just like one of those things that's oddly satisfying. You watch it and you're just like, oh my gosh, put me on the table, break my neck.
you
Because
need it.
I do, dude. I've been having, well, I have scoliosis
Yeah.
already, so I have back pain with that sometimes. And then I've just been, I think I slept on my neck weird not too long ago, and I've been having like a sore neck. And I've really, really been considering going to a chiropractor and just having somebody crack me up like a glow stick. So I've been watching those videos, and I'm like, oh man, I might have to indulge. And then there's ones where a guy from Germany does it for pets. He'll have like a
Hmm.
puppy in his arms, and then he just like rotates the head almost 360 degrees, and then the
Trying
dog
to
just like
snap.
starts barking and like smiling with its tongue out, and he's just like breaking their necks.
Oh
It's
man.
it's cute. It's wholesome. He
A
has
little
ones.
kitten.
Yeah, I was gonna say he has ones with kittens where he's like holding their legs, and then when he pops it to like crack it because it's a kitten, it's just like the very faintest like really like tiny little sound.
Well,
They're actually really funny. The guy's from Germany. I don't remember his YouTube or anything. And then the dude who does it for humans, he does it. I can't remember his name, but it's like something like St. Louis Chiropractor or whatever. And it shows like guys who come in who are from construction, girls who do gymnastics, guys who sit in an office space all day, people ranging from all these different scenarios. And they're like, oh, I've had this pain my whole life and blah, blah, blah. And then he's just like, oh, great, let me destroy your spine. And then
oh,
they're like, oh, I feel so much better, which is a temporary relief. That stuff's not going to a one and done cure everything, but it'll help for like a few months or however long it ends up being. So it's interesting. I don't know much about it. I know my sister was supposed to do it one time for a sports team she was on in college, and she was really scared of doing it and didn't want to do it. And the guy who was the chiropractor. He's like, "It's fine. Like I've only paralyzed like one person," and he was being
oh my,
serious. He was like, "I've only messed up
oh
and like
no.
paralyzed one person." And my sister was like, "No, that's okay."
One is one too many.
Well, that is one too many. And then the last thing in our notes that has also been here for some time now is Kendrick doing the Super Bowl,
Yeah, I didn't
which,
know this until you put it there.
as if he hasn't already won the beef with Drake,
Uh,
just to rub it in his face. Now he's doing the Super Bowl. I think Drake has some line. I think it's first person shooter with J. Cole when they're on that song together, where he's like, Cole and Drizzy doing the Super Bowl, or he has some line about
uh,
him playing Super Bowls, which obviously he's never done.
yeah.
And so Kendrick wins the beef, I would say, pretty handedly. And then the NFL was like, I think we're going to be on Team Kendrick. And then they got him for the Super Bowl to rub it in even more.
If they want to break the internet, have Drake come out and squash the beef on stage,
Yeah,
and
that
they
would be
perform
sick.
together.
That would be sick. Because they did
And
that
then
with.
J. Cole comes out of nowhere from skydives in and just drops Dreamville, another Dreamville album.
They drop him in like a battle royale, like just jumps out of the
Yeah.
plane.
Pan in hand.
Because apparently the Super Bowl ad that Kendrick is in, where he announced it, he's saying things in it where there was a Super Bowl or something with Drake and somebody else, and he's like, Drake was answering questions like, "How tough can you be?" or something along those lines, and then Kendrick is answering those questions from a video from like years ago, just furthering pushing the beef and making
Yeah.
them feel bad. I'm explaining it really bad, but look it up. Do your own research. I can't do everything
Yeah.
for you.
It's not our job.
It's not our job. We bring it up.
Not at all.
We enjoy spreading some misinformation on the internet, and
That's the plan.
it's up to you to figure it out.
Make your own decisions.
You're a man, woman. I hope.
Yeah. You're a man or a
Hopefully,
woman.
figure it
Or
out.
giraffe. I don't know.
You might be. What's that thing called? Moodang. Moodang?
Moodang could be watching this right now.
You might be Moodang listening to this podcast. You might be Will Ferrell. Will Ferrell,
Do it.
defend yourself.
Come on.
Our DMs are open. Comment on any video, and you can debate the hippo. That is. That's gonna bring us to
Also known as Rosie O'Donnell.
That's gonna bring a. Oh my gosh! I was trying to just go over that, and I got it. That's gonna bring a sweet, sweet end to this episode on the Barely Noticed podcast.
Indeed.
We've got some fun stuff coming up for Halloween. Don't go anywhere. Watch us, listen to us, do all the things. We're on Spotify. Forgot to introduce that at the beginning. We're on Spotify. We're on YouTube. Our channel links are in the description. Watch us. Subscribe to us. What do you got, Tyler? Give me something.
Repost us, and of course, R.I.P. Petey.
R.I.P. Petey, per usual. Never forget. The two things you never forget are 9/11 and R.I.P. Petey. Let's just make that clear.
And Harambe.
And Harambe. That's the trifecta. And I believe that's going to be it for this episode. I'm going to work on editing this. I'm going to edit something else, and we're going to keep that content train chugging along because it does not make any stops. And that's all I've got to say. So thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Barely Noticed podcast, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.
Later.